Hello, Dr. Mark Pasquale, Dr. Sean Campbell.
How we going?
How are you?
Yeah,
excellent. Thanks for joining me today. We're talking about something very, very important. We're actually talking about our supplements, and what we want to speak about today is the Isotonix Advantage. So, look, the first question that we do want to pose today is why should we be taking supplements in the first place? And also, but before we answer that question, is what do we have to do as chiropractors? What do we have to do with supplements? Like, that's not chiropractic. So why would we be talking about supplements? Why would we be recommending them? Why would we be educating ourselves on those? Any points?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've all been supplementing for a long time in the clinic here and seeing amazing results in people's health and performance and
well, and another thing too is it should be left, and supplementation should be left to the professionals who really do look into the research, but unfortunately those professionals aren't. Like, let's look at the medical fraternity. If you go to medical school, you only do supplementation or nutrition for a semester, which is about 6 months over your whole training. Those who should be looking at the research actually aren't. So we look pretty deeply into it, and we spend a lot of time looking into it. Yeah. So that's why our point of view is that you're not going to get it. You're possibly not going to get it anywhere else. So that's why we actually take that on. So that's the reason why we look into supplementation so deeply. Now, what we want to do is we want to actually get some information to you with regards to the different forms and the different types, because you may be going into the supermarket or the pharmacy, just like I did, picked up a couple, okay, and you really don't have the information there to really nut it out. So we want to go through the advantages of what is called the isotonic delivery system, because there's different ways of taking vitamins. Now, isotonic means the osmolarity of what you put into your stomach is what the body wants to digest straight away.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when we eat something, like let's say for example we eat an apple, you can't just digest that straight away. It has to sit in the stomach. The acids need to start tuning it up and breaking it down before it can be led into the small intestines. And that can sometimes take a fair bit of time.
Yeah.
Now, for eating a steak or eating a big meal, that churning process or digestive process can take a couple of hours.
Yeah, I think I saw something the other day, it's about 8 hours for a steak compared to about 4 hours for chicken and fish. I think it's a little bit smaller again.
Yeah. So if we're taking vitamins and minerals and we want to get the best out of our food, we've got to take that into account. Now, the isotonic delivery system is, the osmolarity is ready for the body to take it up straight away. So it goes into the stomach, and if we have it on an empty stomach, it goes straight into the small intestines, and then it can be absorbed straight away. So that's how we do our calculations, and that's how the chemistry is worked out at those high levels of taking it on an empty stomach. So what it looks like is an isotonic product looks like this. I've just picked out vitamin C today. There are a few different ones, but what it looks like, it's a powder, and what happens is you actually mix it in a certain amount of water. Okay, generally the doses are now universal across all the different types, and it's 60 mils of water, and it's 4.4 grams of powder. That's the chemistry. Okay, so pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I know it's simple to take a tablet too, but let's go into having a look at what the tablets actually, the absorption rates of them as well. So, the first thing why we like the Isotonix is because it has maximum absorption capability. If we take it on an empty stomach, our calculations, I like doing calculations at 95% absorption rate. So as an example, one dose of vitamin C here is 500 milligrams. So 95% of that is 475 milligrams. We have it on an empty stomach. But what we do, we're going to be generous today. We're going to do our calculations on about 80% effectiveness, okay, just in comparison too. So that's the first thing. Now the second thing too is, let's take into account some tablets. So Dr. Sean went down to the pharmacy and picked these ones up. Now here we have, we've got Swiss. Okay, so these tablets here are 1,000 milligrams. They look pretty good. The cost of that,
common brand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Now the cost of this was $39.99. Okay, now in direct comparison to the isotonic vitamin C, the isotonic vitamin C is $50.40. It's a little bit more expensive, this one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but we're going to have a look at the absorption rates. Now the calculations we can do with tablets is 20% effective absorption rate of a tablet. Now the reason being is because when you actually open it up, you've got to have a look. Look at these, they're hard. They've got to break down in the first place.
Yeah.
So
it's convenience.
It is, isn't it?
Sacrifice products.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now another thing too, which we were just speaking before we actually came on, was you were actually having a look at the bottles and the containers, and there's no actual ingredient lists.
Yeah, so one of my issues with a lot of these brands is you can't get the ingredients list, so you don't actually know what else is being used in the production. And I've seen some cases where people have actually had allergies and things and have contacted certain companies. I'm not going to say these ones, but some companies, and they refuse to actually disclose what is used in the process. So I'm always a bit skeptical whenever there's no ingredient list on the packaging.
Yeah, so we've got to be very careful what's going into our body, don't we? So there can be stuff there that we don't want. Now they're called binders and fillers, but we'll go into that in a little bit more detail later on. So the math actually is, and I don't want to get everyone lost out there, but the math is, so we've got 150 tablets in this. They're 1,000 milligrams each. So at 20% effectiveness, we would be looking at getting around about, what is that? So that's 200 milligrams out of one tablet if it's 20% effective. Okay, so 200 milligrams. All right. Now 200 milligrams, and this is one of the understandings of vitamins and minerals, is how much supplement do we want to actually take? Vitamin C as an example, remembering that, and another video that we have actually done are the levels of supply of a vitamin. So there's 5 levels. Okay. So the first level is obviously not enough. And I'm just going to recap on these just now, just so that we don't get too confused here. So level 1 is not enough, obviously. So with vitamin C as an example, we'd have scurvy. Okay. Now in our diets these days, there is some vitamin C in everything, pretty much.
Yeah, we get some. And it gets fortified into certain foods and things people have.
It gets added. Yeah. Now level 2 is barely adequate. So now this is the level where these vitamins are pitted at. Okay, and we're going to show you that. So barely adequate means that there's some in there, enough not to get you into serious health issues, but not enough for level 3, which is present in abundance. That's where we want to be, and that's why I've got it in green here. Okay, there's more than enough that the body needs. Okay, so if we have more, it's going to be better for us. Then we have level 4, which is pharmacologic. Now that is certain instances where it can be used in place of a medication or a drug. And then level 5 is toxic. Okay, we definitely don't want to get there.
Yeah.
Just a side note, with vitamin C, it's water soluble, so we will never get to toxic levels. Okay? So where we want to get to is present in abundance. Now, in abundance would be about 500 milligrams of vitamin C, as an example, per day. Okay, so if we want 500 milligrams of these, we've got to take two and a half of these tablets. Would be 500, the absorption rate of 500 milligrams. Okay, so there's so it's 2.5 of those. It'd be quite difficult cutting those in half, wouldn't it? Or 5 of these ones. Okay, 5 of those ones. Now these are the levels, and one thing to understand here is taking them in tablet form. You're always going to be taking them, if taken recommended, how they recommend on the packet, you're always going to be taking them at level 2, which is barely adequate for health. So we want to up it. All the isotonic products are always pitted at present in abundance. So it's making sure that we've got more than enough for the body to actually function correctly. That's pretty important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want optimal health over your life and you want to improve things like performance, recovery from illness, all those sorts of things, then yeah, absolutely, abundance.
Exactly right. Now, cost is sometimes mentioned to us with regards to, well, these are more expensive than these. Just as an example, if we go down to the dosage rates, and I've worked it out, we can confer these later on, but if we wanted at the present in abundance with the Swiss, this one here, this would be 66.5 cents per day. So 2.5 tablets works out to 66 cents. If we work out with the Synovus, 5 tablets of these works out at 41.6 cents, so 41 cents. And if we work out the Isotonic in abundance level, the price of that is 55.8 cents. So this actually sits right in the middle with regards to cost and value ratio. Okay, that's pretty much where it should be pitted, because it shouldn't be pitted at the too expensive, and it also shouldn't be pitted at the cheapest, because they're definitely
quality ingredients.
Correct. Quality ingredients that we know what's in there. We can actually read what's in there, as opposed to these two here. So that's the first point. Now, just very quickly too, what we want to go through is another few advantages as well. That the isotonic solution does actually carbonate when you actually mix it in the water. Okay, so it bubbles away. Now that has a distinct advantage. And what that does is actually allows quicker absorption into the bloodstream. And how it does that is because it strips the mucus lining off the small intestines. It's a protective layer that the small intestines have. It strips that away for a short time, allowing it all to be absorbed very quickly. Okay, so that's an advantage.
One of the things I like about this having the bicarb in it as well. So a lot of people are starting to actually have bicarb as its own supplement.
Yes.
Because of the digestive benefits that it has, your body actually releases bicarb into the small intestine for neutralizing stomach acids and things as you digest food. And so, yeah, having that bicarb can actually in itself just provide its own benefits.
I need to make a note of that because that's probably another point for another video that we should be talking about, how to get the digestive system at a basic level. Another advantage too is the buffers that are actually buffers in this. They're added into the ingredient list. Now in there, what they do is actually protect the ingredients from all the acids when it's in the stomach. So there can be some residual acids in there. Okay, we might have eaten something and it's still sitting in our stomach, or we might have even thought of having lunch and we might be a bit hungry, so that the stomach starts to release some acids into it. So it just buffers it just to protect it a little bit. So that actually increases the absorption rate as well. Now it's much easier to take a liquid than it is to swallow these for some people. Okay, and when we're talking about taking,
especially if you've got to take 5 of them.
Yeah, correct. And when we're talking about taking different types of vitamins, like for example maybe multivitamin, B complexes, other vitamins as well, we can have, you know, how many tablets would you want to be taking in a day?
Rattling when you walk.
It is, isn't it? It's ridiculous. So it just doesn't really work. Benefit, another advantage is people with stomach issues. Okay, stomach issues that they can't really digest very well, or they may have had lap band surgery, or some issues with their stomach that they've tried to alleviate. These are, this is liquid.
Like IBS and Crohn's and all those types of inflammatory bowel issues that are going to decrease the absorption rate.
Yep. Advantage 6, which I've got written down, is as we were speaking about before, the binders and fillers. Okay, so everything that's holding these ones together just aren't in the powder form. Okay, we don't really know what's in it. Look, my recommendation is when my patients say to me, look, I've got some vitamin C that I'll use, and then after that I'll have a think about what I'm going to buy next. I always say, look, crush it up at least. You know, crush it up so at least it's going to be breaking down and not just going straight through the system in a tablet as well. There's a couple of questions that come our way with regards to other powders, because you can actually get vitamin C in powder form too. And it comes in canisters like this, and you just sort of scoop it out and you mix it in some water as well. My advice with that is, unless you have the amount of the distinct amount of water and the osmolarity that is creating, you really don't know, what absorption rate it's going to be. Okay, so I've seen them where you just put like a teaspoon of some vitamin C into some water. If you're having too much water, they can actually dilute it too much. And then what happens is the water actually fights for the absorption sites of where the vitamin C should be going, and water takes it up instead. So yeah, we're very happy that it's very scientific. We know exactly how much powder to put into how much water and what the uptake is going to be, so that when we're trying to dose on certain things, we can do it quite effectively. One example of why we would want to do that is, let's say for example I'm starting to get a bit of a sniffle or a cold. I'd want to start taking much more than 500 milligrams per day. I'd be wanting to take anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 milligrams. So it's 5 times the normal daily amount. So how many tablets is that? That's 10.
2.5. So if you're
taking,
times
it's too many.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's very easy to superdose with these and get those up into those high levels. Look, so that's a bit of a summary of all the advantages of the Isotonix delivery system. This is why we recommend it. Anyone who does want any information, we've got these brochures here. It's got all the chemistry behind it all, how the difference between tablets work and isotonic solutions. It's a good education process on how the digestive system works. So if anyone wants one of those, come in and grab one, contact us, we can send one out to you. Any other comments?
No.
It's pretty cool stuff, isn't it? Yeah, all right. And this is all...
It tastes delicious.
And they do taste. A lot of people ask us how well do they taste, or do they taste good? They do taste good. So, and that's a bonus too. That's another advantage I didn't have down. Well, out there, stay healthy, everybody. If you need any more information, don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help you. See you later on.